Exactly what would it take to get January 1st back to being the college football day? Even if it's just the semifinal games being on New Year's Day, how would we get it back to being as special as it once was? Sarge, this all comes down to personal preference and how you have chosen to calibrate your scale of enjoyment. So this past year, what did we have? We had, I think, New Year's Eve playoff games, and I was down at the Georgia-Michigan game in Miami. And let me tell you, I made it a point to catch a 6 a.m. flight out of Miami or Fort Lauderdale. I can't remember where I flew out of. The next morning, flew to Atlanta, drove down to Columbus to watch the New Year's Day games with my dad and my cousin. It's been a ritual. We've done it every year. And even though I'm in this business now and covering these games, if I'm free on New Year's Day, I try and make it a point to get back home. Well, the point is, I looked forward to that for weeks and weeks and weeks, knowing how the schedule was going to fall. And I got on that plane. I hate waking up early, but I got on that plane that morning and I was excited and took off, got to Atlanta, didn't even sleep, got in bed 3 a.m., didn't even sleep. And I say that to say it didn't mean any less to me. When I watch those New Year's Day games, and it's not just the Rose Bowl, but I love watching Capital One Bowl's always got a good Big Ten SEC matchup, ditto for the Outback Bowl. You got a lot of bowl games. Everyone knows how New Year's Day is structured. I don't know. Maybe some of you feel different. I still look forward to that day the exact same, but I pinpointed the reason why, and it's because I don't let the casuals recalibrate my scale of enjoyment. That day still means the same to me as it always has. And I actually go back now and I think about New Year's Day this past season, and I think about that Rose Bowl. And I think about Utah and Ohio State. And I think about that thing in the second half and how back and forth it was, and there goes the sunset, and there goes another touchdown. Ohio State is forging a big comeback on Utah. Now, I remember kind of being on social media as the game was going on, and you could pick the casuals out from a mile away. Normally you can regardless, but especially on that day. Because there's this group, you know them good and well just like I do in our sport. Well, they're kind of watching our sport. They're not of our sport. But they almost root for meaningless bowl games because they've popularized that phrase. So they almost get mad when they look around and people are enjoying New Year's Day. Those are miserable people. Those are the old energy vampires. You don't want them in your life. You don't want to hang out around those folks at the office. You don't want to see them at the gym. Why should we ever include them in our college football conversation? They're free to watch the games just like anyone else, but why would you let Negative Ned over here tell you it's New Year's Day games, they don't mean anything anymore? If it means something to you, Sarge, or I'm looking in the mirror, JP, if it means something to you, it means something to you. Well, it means something to me still. And watching that Utah-Ohio State game, it meant something to those guys. I didn't see any less than max effort being played with. So I don't think in my mind at least, we've eroded away at the integrity of New Year's Day. Now, the folks who argue on the other side, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about some of those games having opt-outs. I know what you mean. I wish that wasn't the case. It is. But as long as they're still, putting on that Arkansas helmet, shout out number 1 for Arkansas on the show tonight, or that Wisconsin helmet, as long as I still see those jerseys and I still see that pageantry, it means the world to me. I love it. So, Sarge, I don't know what to tell you. I think every bit as highly of New Year's Day in college football now as I once did. And they're not changing that for me. I hope they haven't changed it for you.